Welcome to Strange but True. Take a breath, slow down, and listen carefully. Some stories are documented, some are debated, some refuse to be explained. We tell you the stories. You decide what's true. Now, let's begin. In the mid-20th century, a map surfaced that seemed to show something history was not supposed to have recorded. It was drawn on parchment. It was written in ink, and it appeared to show land across the Atlantic Ocean, land placed west of Europe and Africa, where medieval European maps normally showed only open sea. The document became known as the Vinland Map. Its name came from a word written on the map itself, Vinland, a name associated with Norse voyages, a name linked to accounts of ships traveling west from Greenland. The map was not discovered in an excavation. It entered the modern world through private hands and academic review, appearing alongside a medieval manuscript known as the Tartar Relation, and bound with a copy of a work associated with the Speculum Historiale tradition. From the beginning, the Vinland Map carried two stories at once. One story was about geography, the other was about origin. On the map, Europe and parts of Asia appear in a style consistent with medieval cartography. Africa appears with a familiar outline for the period. Islands and coastlines are rendered with confident strokes. Latin labels appear across the surface, describing places and regions in a medieval hand. But on the far western side, across the Atlantic, the map includes something else. A large landmass, an outlined coastline, a shape labeled in a way that suggests it was not imagined as myth, but treated as a place. If authentic, that detail matters, because Columbus's voyage occurred in 1492. Yet the Vinland Map was presented as a 15th century document, suggesting knowledge of Western land existed in European cartographic form before that date. The word Vinland is not random. Norse sagas describe voyages to lands west of Greenland, including places named Helluland, Markland, and Vinland. These accounts describe coastlines, resources, and brief settlements. For decades, these stories existed in the space between literature and historical possibility. The Vinland Map appeared to pull them closer to the physical record, not as a narrative, as a chart, as a claim drawn in lines, as a depiction placed beside the known world. But the moment the map appeared, so did the questions. What exactly is it? Where did it come from? And why does its western coastline resemble a kind of knowledge that should not be there? Researchers examined the parchment. They examined the ink. They studied the map's handwriting, its Latin phrasing, its cartographic conventions. They compared it to other documents from the same period. Scientific testing was eventually applied to the object as well. Debate intensified around the ink. Some studies suggested properties consistent with modern materials. Other analyses argued the evidence was not decisive and that contamination or later handling could affect results. The arguments did not settle into one clean conclusion. Instead, they produced two parallel realities. In one, the map is genuine and extraordinary. In the other, it is a modern creation designed to resemble an older world. What makes the Vinland Map unusual is not only the coastline, it is the way it refuses to resolve. Its lines remain, its labels remain, its western land remains drawn where it has always been drawn. The map itself does not change when the debate changes. It simply continues to exist as a physical object that created a question history could not easily close. If it was copied from earlier sources, then older knowledge may have been preserved and transmitted. If it was created from first-hand reports, then contact across the Atlantic becomes harder to dismiss. And if it was fabricated, then the fabrication was built around a concept that still pulls at the edges of accepted timelines. Either way, the Vinland Map forces attention to the same point, that what we think was first is often only what was recorded publicly, and what was known privately can survive in fragments, in copies, in quiet documents, in maps that appear without explanation. The Vinland Map remains one of the most debated cartographic artifacts of the modern era, not because it proves a conclusion, but because it sits inside the record as a challenge, a chart that implies knowledge, a document that invites argument, a coastline drawn where it should not be, according to the cleanest version of the timeline. History has a way of hiding the truth inside what it chooses not to explain. Inside tales, inside myths, inside legends, inside things that feel just a little off. If this story held your attention, subscribe to Strange But True, because sometimes what sounds unbelievable is exactly where the truth hides.